Okay, we're on to Deuteronomy. 19. When the Lord your God has cut off the nations whose land the Lord your God is giving you, and you dispossess them and dwell in their cities and in their houses, you shall separate 3 cities for yourself in the midst of your land which the Lord your God is giving you to possess. You shall prepare roads for yourself and divide into 3 parts the territory of your land which the Lord God is giving you to inherit, that any manslayer may flee there. And this is the case of the manslayer who flees there, that he may live. Whoever kills his neighbor unintentionally, not having hated him in the time past, as when a man goes to the woods with his neighbor to cut timber, and his hand swings a stroke with an axe to cut down the tree, and the head slips from the handle and strikes his neighbor so that he dies, he shall flee to one of these cities and live. Lest the avenger of blood, while his anger is hot, pursue the manslayer and overtake him, because the way is long, and kill him, though he was not deserving of death, since he had not hated the victim in the past. Therefore I command you, saying, you shall separate 3 cities for yourself. Now if the Lord your God enlarges your territory, as he swore to your fathers, and gives you the land which he promised to give to your fathers, and if you keep all these commandments and do them which I command you today, to love the Lord your God, and to walk always in his ways, then you shall add 3 more cities for yourself besides these 3, lest innocent blood be shed in the midst of your land, which the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, and thus guilt of bloodshed be upon you. But if anyone hates his neighbor, lies in wait for him, rises up against him, and strikes him mortally so that he dies, and he flees to one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and bring him from there, and deliver him over to the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. Your eye shall not pity him, but you shall put away the guilt of innocent blood from Israel, that it may go well with you. You shall not remove your neighbor's landmark, which the men of old had set, in your inheritance, which you will inherit in the land of the Lord your God is giving you to possess. 1 witness shall not rise against a man concerning any iniquity or any sin that he commits. By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses the matter shall be established. If a false witness rises against any man to testify of him of wrongdoing, then both men in the controversy shall stand before the Lord, before the priests and the judges who serve in those days, and the judges shall make the careful inquiry. And indeed, if the witness is a false witness, who has testified falsely against his brother, then you shall do to him as he thought to have done to his brother, so that you shall put away the evil from among you. And those who remain shall hear and fear, and hereafter they shall not again commit such evil among you. Your eye shall not pity, life shall be for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. So when Jesus said, thou shalt not kill, right, and that we don't kill one another, and when in the commandment, thou shalt not kill, that's murder. It's not accidentally killing someone, And also Jesus does say in the New Testament, right, that he didn't come to take away any of what God has spoken. So we're going to read back through the New Testament again. But these people who murder on this planet, and people say, well, Jesus says you don't kill, right? Well, that is not murder when you put someone to death because they have murdered another individual or they have harmed someone in horrible ways, right? This is removing the evil so that you're not guilty of the sin. So that's where, and that's how I interpret what he's saying, huh? Because after we read all the way through, it's a long way, all the way through the Old Testament, we're going to read back through completely the New Testament. And but we still have that much to read in the middle, and that's what we've read that's hanging, so we've got a long way to go. When you go out to battle against your enemies and see horses and chariots and people more numerous than you, do not be afraid of them, for the Lord your God is with you, who brought you up from the land of Egypt. And just so you know, it's just like when fighting wars, right? When people have to go and fight wars against other countries that are attacking, you're not supposed to just lay down and die. It is war, and that's the same thing if you have someone in your family, city, state that is waging war, waging evil on the other people. You destroy them. They don't need to be here. But now, as you can see in the world, people have been tricked into thinking that these people can recover, and then now we're just surrounded by so much evil people, right? They make the laws to protect them, and then they've actually gotten themselves into all the political realms, and there's tons of evil people there too. So it's, it's what it said was going to happen, Armageddon. Anyways, so it shall be when you are on the verge of battle that the priest shall approach and speak to the people. And he shall say to them, Hear, O Israel, today you are on the verge of battle with your enemies. Do not let your heart faint. Do not be afraid, and do not tremble or be terrified because of them. For the Lord your God is he who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. Then the officer shall speak to the people, saying, What man is there who has built a new house and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man dedicate it. Also, what man is there who has planted a vineyard and has not eaten of it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in battle and another man has eaten of it. And what man is there who is betrothed to a woman and has not married her? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in battle and another man marry her. The officer shall speak further to the people and say, What man is there who is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return to his house, lest the heart of his brethren faint like his heart. And so it shall be, when the officers have finished speaking to the people, that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people. So it's incredible how there are so many people who automatically are not faint of heart, right? These are heroes. These are the people who have pulled us through, people who have died on the field and for us, and they don't even know who they were dying for. They just knew that they were protecting a country of people. And when he talks about Jesus, when he talks about in the New Testament, the biggest love is to lay down your life for other people. Imagine how many people have done this for us. That's why it's very important to remember those who have died for us. And we're talking about police officers, firemen, electricians, but also, all of the military, the Coast Guards, all these people who have gone to war, who have trained so hard, and whose own leaders have turned their backs on them and allowed them to die. These people are going to be avenged through God. He said, vengeance is mine, right? They had no time to avenge themselves. And they will be avenged through God. But like he says, if someone is fearful or faint-hearted, they have to go in case they cause someone else to be fearful or faint-hearted. And that happens. Courage spreads just like fear spreads, right? When you go near a city to fight against it, then proclaim an offer of peace to it. And it shall be that if they accept your offer of peace and open to you, then all the people who are found in it shall be placed under tribute to you and serve you. Now, if the city will not make peace with you, but makes war against you, then you shall besiege it. And when the Lord your God delivers into your hands, you shall strike every male in it with the edge of the sword. But the women, the little ones, the livestock, and all that is in the city, all its spoil, you shall plunder for yourselves, and you shall eat the enemy's plunder which the Lord your God gives you. Thus you shall do to all the cities which are very far from you, which are not the cities of these nations. But of all of these peoples which the Lord your God gives you as an inheritance, you shall let nothing that breathes remain alive, but you shall utterly destroy them. The Hittite and the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Perizzite and the Hivite and the Jebusite, just as the Lord your God has commanded you, lest they teach you to do according to their abominations, which they have done for their gods, and you sin against the Lord your God. When you besiege a city for a long time while making war against it to take it, you shall not destroy its trees by wielding an axe against them. If you can eat of them, do not cut them down to use them in the siege. For the tree of the field is the man's food. That's in battle, right? He's saying, don't cut these things down. These things you're going to need for food. Only the trees which you know are not trees for food you may destroy and cut down to build sledge works against the city that makes the war with you until it is subdued. Because everything that he places in this world is here for a reason. And when he returns and cleans up, remember he says there'll be a new heaven and a new earth, and he cleans it all up because he can take everything that's man-made and return it right back to what it was supposed to be from origin, right? Because man-made means nothing to God, because we had to use what he has given us to make these things, right? We didn't make the ingredients and make the stuff. It came from everything that it came from God. So how many minutes is that? 12. Okay, we'll go ahead and read 21. If anyone is found slain, lying in the field, in the land which the Lord your God is giving you to possess, and it is not known who killed him, then your elders and your judges shall go out and measure the distance from the slain man to the surrounding cities. And it shall be that the elders of the city nearest to the slain man will take a heifer which has not been worked, and which has not pulled with a yoke. The elders of that city shall bring the heifer down to the valley with flowing water, which is neither plowed nor sown, and they shall break the heifer's neck there in the valley. Then the priests, the sons of Levi, shall come near, for the Lord your God has chosen them to minister to him and to bless him in the name of the Lord. By their word every controversy and every assault shall be settled. And all the elders of that city nearest to the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broke in the valley. Then they shall answer and say, our hands have not shed this blood, nor have our eyes seen it. Provide atonement, O Lord, for your people Israel, whom you have redeemed, and do not lay innocent blood to the charge of your people Israel. An atonement shall be provided on their behalf for the blood. So you shall put away the guilt of the innocent blood from among you, when you do what is right in the sight of the Lord. When you go out to war against your enemies, and the Lord your God delivers them into your hand, and you take them captive, and you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and desire her, and would take her for your wife, then you shall bring her home to your house, and she shall shave her head and trim her nails. She shall put off the clothes of her captivity, remain in your house, and mourn her father and her mother a full month. After that you may go into her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. And it shall be, if you have no delight in her, then you shall set her free, but you certainly shall not sell her for money. You shall not treat her brutally, because you have humbled her. If a man has two wives, one loved and the other unloved, and they have borne him children, both the loved and the unloved, And if the firstborn son is of her who is unloved, then it shall be on the day he bequeaths his possession to his sons, that he must not bestow firstborn status on the son of the loved wife in preference to the son of the unloved, the true firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the unloved wife as the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he has, for he is the beginning of his strength. The right of his firstborn is his. If a man has a stubborn and rebellious son who will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and who, when they need have chastened him, will not heed them, then his father and his mother shall take hold of him and bring him out to the elders of the city, to the gate of his city. And they shall say to the elders of his city, This son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Then all the men of this city shall stone him to death with stones, so you shall put away the evil from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear. Because these laws from way back then, people need a clear understanding of what is allowed and what's not allowed. And as you see throughout the entire world, death is simply part of creation. Now, way back then, and even we're going to read about it, where those that have died, did they have was there heaven and hell, right? Well, as we read along, then you're going to hear of how Jesus came, right? And he was the mediator between us and God. Things changed when God came to the earth, because then he came in human form, his son. He sent his son in human form to show us how we are to live. Of course, he knows that we are not capable of being Jesus, but he gave us something to strive for and to show our faith through trusting in his son, and that this was his son. See, back here, and what does he say? If you have faith without seeing, then that's the greatest type of faith. Well, it's the same with this. Way back when, right? Still, he was, even if you had someone in your own family who was no good, rather than have that sin come upon your family, this person was deserving of death, right? And this person who, now we would say, oh my gosh, how could you do this or whatever, my son won't listen and la la la. Well, there's a whole bunch of people who actually refuse to punish their children, right, in any form of way. And therefore, if you've never been punished, then the difference between right and wrong doesn't have a clear line. And people will say, well, how come God punishes us? Well, it's because of sin. And what does he say? That the sin can affect from 1 to 4 generations. So that's why you ask forgiveness. You make atonement for your sin, right? And you truly ask forgiveness, and you mean it, right? And you make atonement. You even discipline yourself for your sin. But others in your family that are sinning and against you and things like that, then back then it was different. They took them and stoned them. But that we don't do anymore, right? That's not done. But you do have to pray for them, but you cannot allow them to continue to sin against your family. They have to be cast away until they choose to be a part of your family in a non-sinful way that's not hurting you. Now, do we all sin? We all sin. But he's talking about someone who is obviously causing problems in the family, like the mom and the dad. He's not going to go into exactly what's going on, but I think just with a reasonable mind, you're going to know if you've got someone who is causing grief in your family, not just being a little rebellious. If a man has committed a sin deserving of death, and he is put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain overnight on the tree, but you shall surely bury him that day, so that you do not defile the land which the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance. For he who is hanged is accursed of God. Okay, so we have finished through to 21. 22 is next. We started with 19, 20, 21. And there you go. Have a good time.